Hey everyone, my name is Erin and welcome to Everywhere on Earth with Erin travel channel. So today's installment is about a fascinating place in Egypt called Abu Simbel. So I have to say this was probably my favorite place that we visited. I know the pyramids are really cool and everything, but for some reason this site really fascinated me. It's usually not included in your group tours, so you have to pay a bit extra and it's like an optional, but I would say when you're in Egypt, you absolutely have to visit this site. Like, it's just seriously unreal. So let me start with the story of the day. So it's another very early departure day at 4:30 a.m., which means my alarm probably went off around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, which is just insane. Don't like this at all. So because the hotels are not expected to serve us breakfast this early because they're all still sleeping, this is where the breakfast box comes into play for the next week. So the box is a source of many jokes, and we'll just say they're not really that great. Basically, it's like a box with a piece of fruit, maybe some yogurt, and probably about like 5 or 6 different types of breads and buns. This is the basic core of the box. Usually I would maybe eat half of it and then throw the rest away, which I know is really bad, but I mean, it's good to sort of tide you over in the morning, but they're just not very good at all. So anyways, I meet up with the gang in the lobby in the morning, and I'm in for a surprise because Ramez is no longer our tour guide. The issues with the one American guy were just too much, and so he's been removed and replaced with Mina. Now, Mina is also a fantastic guide, and he'll be taking us to Abu Simbel this morning. I feel kind of sorry for him because he's coming into a weird situation, but you know what? He's pretty understanding. We're all a super cool bunch of people, so we embrace him, and you know, that is what it is. We're still pretty sad, but Kamali is already on it, and she's sending an email to Timeless Tours to fight to get Ramez back on tour with us because he deserves to be on tour with us. So in my time, I've done probably around 10 group tours, and nothing like this has ever happened. So I don't even know what to think of it. I'm still not sure the details as to what happened between the two of them, but obviously it was severe enough for this to happen. Anyways, as Freddie Mercury and Queen say, the show must go on. So now it's a 3-hour drive from Aswan to Abu Simbel. That's why it makes sense for us to get on the road early. On the way, we stopped to see the sunrise in the vast western desert. So this here is a photo of that. It's very pretty, very quiet, worth getting off the bus half asleep to see. And then, you know, luckily there's more time for a bus nap before we arrive at Abu Simbel. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about Abu Simbel. So it's a village in the Egyptian part of Nubia, and it's south of Aswan and very close to the Sudan border, so there's a lot of security there. It is located on the Nile Reservoir of Lake Nasser, and for this reason, the temples of Abu Simbel had to be relocated onto higher ground because of the flooding when the Aswan Dam was built. So this is pretty amazing. In 1968, the temples were cut into large blocks, and they were dismantled and moved and then reassembled. Insane. So it's regarded to be one of the greatest archaeological engineering challenges in history. And of course, like when you see the site, you can't tell it's been moved. It's just pretty amazing. So Abu Simbel is actually 2 massive rock temples, the Great Temple for King Ramses II and the small temple for his wife Nefertari. And here's got some photos up here to show you. So now Ramses is regarded as the most powerful and celebrated pharaoh of the New Kingdom. These temples date as far back as 1244 BC. Like, wrap your head around that one. So eventually the temples were abandoned and they became buried under sand, which I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, how can these big temples get buried under sand? Like, that's a lot of freaking sand. Anyways, but then there's a Swiss guy and he discovered it in 1813. Again, like, how do you even know that that's there? How do you figure this out? Amazing to me. So as I said earlier, like I would say this is one of the most fascinating places that I've visited. Mina gives us a quick little history lesson, tells us about the site, and then we have free time to explore. So I head over first to Nefertari's temple, and it looks like this. And so there's 6 statues, and then the entry is in between, and the statues are all of the king and queen in various sizes and poses, I guess you'd say. And then, so there's a lot of stories depicted on the walls, like in hieroglyphics and all kinds of pictures and things. It's pretty magnificent. I'm gonna put up some pictures here and maybe like kill some time because there's a lot of really cool things on the walls here, and I don't have a lot to say about it other than that. All right, cool. So now back over to the Great Temple of Ramses. And so you'll notice here that one of the statues is missing his head, like his whole kind of upper body. It's believed that it fell off during an earthquake. So when they relocated the temple, they wanted to keep it authentic, and then they decided just to leave it as it was found. So you'll still see today the bits of his upper body laying in front, as you see here. So that's kind of neat. So inside there's a hall with these towering statues. They're huge. And it leads to a back room called the Inner Sanctuary, as you see here. So this Inner Sanctuary has 4 statues of the divinities, and there is a significance as to how the light hits the room from the temple entrance. Like it's at certain times of the day and certain times of the year when the light goes through and hits that room at the back. So that's kind of cool. I guess they would have to figure that out like when they moved the temple as well. Interesting how they did that. So now there's some hallways that like lead off from the center, and again all these stories on the wall. I'm just gonna waste some time so you can see some of the cool pictures on the wall. And of course, like it's a photographer's dream in here. Like, you know, I ran around taking so many photos, but these are some of the ones that that stood out to me that I wanted to share with you. And so now I'm leaving the temple, and there's a guy and he's guarding the entrance, and he's holding this giant key. And he's like looking at me to hold it, and I'm like, nah. And it actually looks like my necklace. So he tells me it's the key of the temple. So he's making me hold this, and I know he's gonna want money for it, so I don't really want to hold it. So I tell him, I'm like, no, like I don't have any money, I'm not gonna hold it. And he's like, here, and he just puts it in my hand. So here you go, it makes a funny pic. And then when I gave it back to him, he still seemed like disappointed and that I didn't give him money. I'm like, dude, I told you that I wasn't giving you money for it, so stop putting it in my damn hand. Anyways, that's how it works a lot of time here in Egypt. So now we got here really early, so now it's getting closer to 10 a.m. and a lot of the tour buses have already left. So that means that we pretty much have the site to ourselves, and it's awesome. So we can go around and take some photos without any tourists in it, and it seems so quiet, and it's really, really amazing. Like, I'm so glad that we got to stay a little bit later. And then we get back on the bus for another 3-hour drive back to Aswan, and our adventure continues. So that's it about my visit to Abu Simbel. Hope you guys enjoyed learning about it, and really it was so incredible. If you like what you see, like my content, please subscribe to my channel. I'd super appreciate it. And if you like to read, I actually have a website too, here, everywhereonearthwitherin.com, if you want to read about a blog instead of watching and listening to me talk about it. And that's it. That's all for now. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.